What's going on, folks? In this video, I'm going to replace this toilet fill valve and put a new flapper on this porcelain throne and get it working again like new. The reason we're doing this is because this toilet is taking a long time to fill, which normally means there are some water deposits inside the old fill valve, which is clogging it up. This is a job which you could easily do yourself, potentially saving yourself hundreds of dollars. Nowadays, for a plumber to even show up to your house, depending on where you live, you could be paying $200 to $400 for them just to knock on your door. Just think, if you could save a couple $100s by doing this 10-minute project yourself. First thing you need to do is to turn off the water supply valve. This is normally found on the wall behind the toilet. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If you close the valve and water is still seeping into the toilet from the fill valve, the supply valve might need to be replaced as well. If that's happening, do not proceed any farther, and you might need to call a plumber or watch some other YouTube videos, because this video isn't going to cover that. What you're going to have to do, or have someone else do, is to shut off the water to the house and then replace the valve on the wall. But if you're sure the valve turned off the water going to the toilet, then take off the lid and give it a flush to help empty the tank. You could siphon or scoop out the water that's in the tank as well if you want to reuse it. Now it's time to remove the water line going from the valve on the wall to the toilet fill valve. When you're removing this line and later removing the fill valve from the toilet tank, water is going to leak out. So make sure you have something to collect the water. You don't need anything big. A small bucket will do. I'm just using this little trash can. Next is the plastic nut on the bottom of the tank, which holds the fill valve onto the tank. Just unscrew that. Both the water line and the fill valve nut came off pretty easy. They were just hand tight, but sometimes they're a little bit more than hand tight, and you might have to use some pliers to get them loose. Remember, these are plastic, so use caution taking them off. If you ruin the nut on the water line, you have to buy a new line, and that's going to cost more money. Back to the fill valve. There is this refill line or tube coming from the top of the fill valve to the tube in the middle of the tank, which is called the overflow pipe or tube. This prevents the toilet tank from accidentally overflowing and fills up the toilet bowl with water too. Sometimes the refill tube is attached to the overflow pipe pretty good and needs to be pulled off, but this one just came right off. Once the bottom nut of the fill valve and the refill tube are removed, just pull the fill valve out of the toilet tank. The valve I'm going to use is this Korky universal fill valve, which has a 10-year warranty. If this fill valve lasts an actual 10 years though, is anyone's guess. There are many types of fill valves. The two most abundant at my Home Depot are the Fluid Master and the Korky. After we have the new fill valve out of the packaging, take a quick look at it and make sure all the parts are there, including this seal or gasket on the bottom, which seals against the tank. You must adjust these fill valves to the proper height for your toilet too. To adjust a Korky fill valve, grab the top and bottom of the valve. Keep the bottom half stationary and twist the top half counterclockwise. You should hear a little pop when the plastic tabs break loose. Now you can adjust the height. Pull the bottom and the top halves apart, separating them, which makes the fill valve taller. Once you have the height you want, grab a hold of the top half and the bottom half and twist it clockwise to lock it in place. There is normally a line on the fill valve, which shows where the fill valve will stop the water at, like this one on here. Place a new fill valve back on the toilet and use the nut which came with the new fill valve to secure it to the toilet tank. Just screw it back on and tighten it down. I did everything hand tight. Remember, this is plastic on porcelain. You can use a wrench to get it tight, but use extreme caution when using tools on the toilet. You could strip the new nut and ruin the fill valve. Or you could shatter the toilet tank and then you would need to buy a new toilet. But on the bright side, new toilets come with new fill valves, so you really would get this job done. It would just cost you more money and time. But I digress. Back to our project at hand. The smart way to do this is to line the new fill valve up with the old valve and adjust the new one to be the same height as the old fill valve and then put it in the toilet tank and button everything up. But I didn't do that, so I'm going to have to adjust it in place. This is kind of a trial and error thing now. As you can see, the first attempt stopped the water at the same height as the overflow tube. But after a couple of tries, I was able to get the water in the tank to stop filling about a ½ inch lower than the top of the toilet overflow tube, which is what we're looking for. After the fill valve is adjusted and in, it's time to reconnect the toilet bowl refill line. At the end of the refill line, there is a clip which attaches the line to the refill tube. Included in the new fill valve is a new refill tube and end clip. I'm going to use the old tube and replace the end clip. This is very simple to do. Just find a similar clip which is included with the new fill valve. Pull the old clip out of the line and then push the new clip in. Next thing on the list is to adjust the water flow going into the toilet overflow tube, which is used to fill water into the bowl. I don't know if all these fill valves come with this little valve in the wide open position, but mine did. In fact, when I was trying to adjust the height of the fill valve, this fill line came off, and I'm lucky it didn't make a mess. But look at that, it's coming out of that fill line with some authority. So I decided to turn the flow down a little. Last thing to do is to swap out the flapper. Easiest job of them all. This is a 2-inch flapper. From what I've seen at Home Depot, it appears the most popular is a 2-inch, and then there's a 3-inch as well. To take off the old flapper, we just pull the sides off of the tabs inside the toilet tank and then unhook the chain from the tank lever. Then just put the new one on in the reverse order. And voila! Toilet is rebuilt and flushing like brand new again. If this video helps you out, if you can like and subscribe, it would definitely help out the channel. My name is Matt. I'm just a dude, and if I can't fix it, I'll fix it so no one else can. Thank you for watching.